How's it going? How does this work? Is this my thing down here? This is my monitor? You hear me good? Boom, there we go. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Joe Youngblood with Winner Winner Chicken Dinner. I also own another company. It's just called Joe Youngblood. I know, really creative and clever. I don't like to call myself an SEO. I know Katie just did, and that is how I make most of my money. How many SEOs do I have in the room tonight? Okay, Keith over there with IBM. You're an SEO down there in the front. In the back, we got any SEOs back there? No? Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I knew it. You were hiding up there. Okay, so I don't like to call myself an SEO because I don't think it's going to be around forever, and I don't want to get myself tricked into the thing of getting screwed over. So I like to call myself a researcher, and I like to call myself a marketing theorist. My company's called Winner Winner Chicken Dinner. Our logo is Mars, if you can't tell. That's Mars. I'm also a marketing theorist, and I didn't actually know this existed until I Googled it and went to Wikipedia. So there you go. What's that? Everything's on the internet. That's very good. Very good setup for the talk. Thank you. And so basically what it is it's just somebody who tries to figure out how consumers are, why they do what they do, and how they're going to continue doing that in the future. It's just theory. It could be totally wrong. It could be completely off base, like Plato's forms, or it could be really, really close, like Adam, the prediction of atoms in Greek philosophy. So you never know. So I could be making some of this up, but I do have a pretty decent track record. This is January of 2014. Now, when I wrote this, I had just started my agency a few weeks earlier, and the previous place I worked at told me that this was never going to happen. This was a ridiculous idea to believe, and I should stop telling people about it. So I decided to write about it. And does anybody know what Google Home is? Right? So if you go to Marketing Land, Search Engine Land, the article about Google Home and what you need to know, I'm the one that got to write that because of this prediction I made several years earlier, telling people exactly why Google made the purchase of Nest Labs and what led up to that. In fact, in Google I/O, at that announcement, the CEO of Google, Sundar Pichai, Matt Tepper, if you're in the audience, I don't know if I got his name right, I'm sorry, but he said that Google had been actually planning this for a whole decade, and that's really important. I want you to remember that fact. They'd been planning to release a device like Google Home since 2006. And then I made this prediction a couple years ago. This is a very unpopular one. It scares a lot of people. How many people in the room make money off of building, selling, or marketing a website? Okay, so the rest of you, I'm guessing you make money from mobile apps? Nobody. Nobody in the room makes money from marketing mobile apps? Anybody? Zero. One person in the very back, okay. Right? But I think the website's about to die. In fact, I think it's in its death throes right now. I gave a talk last year around this same time in Oklahoma City at a conference called ConfluenceCon, and I predicted what the future searcher would look like. This is what Google believes the future search is going to look like when somebody performs a search on Google in the future. Again, Matt Tepper, please don't lynch me for doing this. They think it's going to be a pretty lazy person laying around. This usually gets laughs, by the way, so you can laugh at this one. Thank you. I'll tell you when to laugh, and then you can just do it. Make this go a lot better. So Google and possibly a lot of other tech companies think that sensors are going to be in our home. They're going to know when we're hungry. They're going to know when we, are stressed out. They're going to know when we want to go on vacation. They're going to know our schedules better than we do. They're going to schedule all these things, and they're just going to bring stuff to us. You will quit looking for stuff, and it will just start coming to you. It's a different revolution. You can watch that talk here. Obviously, these are really long links, so I put this in here so you can take a picture of it if you want to type these URLs in. So you can go and watch that video on YouTube or Facebook, whichever one you choose. And that talk is essentially a precursor to this talk. It's called Search in the Age of Automation. So you will understand a little bit why search looks the way it does in 5 years. I want to talk to you about this quote here from 1716. Has anybody heard a variation of this? Yeah, nothing is guaranteed in life but death and taxes. But that's wrong. There's some countries that don't even tax their citizens. because the citizens don't make any money. And so they can't be taxed. So this isn't true for everybody, right? In fact, there's only two universal truths in the entire world that universally apply to every person. You will die, and everything will change. The thing we don't know is when you will die or how you will die. We also don't know when or how things will change. We just simply know that it will. So if you accept those universal truths, the rest of this talk is going to go a little easier for you. This is the Laniakea cluster, supercluster. Over here is the Milky Way. See the red dot up there? This is a cluster of over 100,000 galaxies in our universe. It's very large. This is a 2 billion light year across span of the universe, seen as particles, billions of particles. This is what is known as the dark matter map of a quadrant of our universe. This is what NASA calls the best map of the known universe ever. This is the background radiation from 370,000 years after the Big Bang. And this is a map of the known universe. All those dots are galaxies, and the color is the Doppler shift as seen from Earth. It's moving away from the Milky Way or towards us. I gave you this for a very good reason. I want everyone to close your eyes for a moment, and I want you to imagine that you are sitting at the very edge of the universe, and you're looking out, and you can see all of this. Everything that I just showed you, you can see absolutely everything that ever exists in the universe. And if you looked at it this way, you might notice that the universe is a series of ever-decreasing containers. You've got the universe, which holds a bunch of galaxies. You've got galaxies, which inside of them hold quasars and pulsars. They also have these bright points of light called stars. And around each one of these bright points of light, there might be some rocks. And on some of these rocks, there might be gases. And if you could peer through those gases, you might see living creatures. And you might be able to look inside those living creatures from your vantage point at the very edge of the universe, your eyes zooming into them. You would see cellular tissue. You would see bacterium if you were looking at Earth, microbiology. And if you were looking into that microbiological life, you would see molecules. You would see atoms. If you zoomed into the atoms, you would see quarks. And you would notice that from your vantage point at the edge of the universe, it is a truth that everything is a container, a series of systems that just simply get smaller and smaller. Now, that's not the way the universe works. The universe is actually a series of ever-increasing containers. We don't actually know what the smallest element of the universe is yet. The smallest piece is just yet that makes all of us, that makes the chairs and the walls and the screen. We don't know what it is yet, but we know it's really, really small, whatever it is. And when they come together, those things make other things, and those things make quarks, and those quarks make atoms, and those atoms make molecules, and those molecules make single-cellular life, and that single-cellular life makes multicellular organisms, and multicellular organisms form colonies and groups and flocks. And some of those, us, intelligent beings, create other things. And together we live on a big rock that's made out of inanimate material, right? And there's lots of big rocks. We're finding more and more of them around the universe. And why is this important? Because if you look at each one of these systems, they all seem to follow a lot of the same rules. And if you notice some of the rules they follow, you'll notice that they adopt the rules from one level to the next, and then they create a new rule. And they continue to do that on and on and on. There are physicists who are way smarter than I am to get your brain a little worked out so that you could be accepting of some of the ideas I'm about to tell you. Has anybody heard of this? The War of the Walled Gardens. Anybody in the audience, raise your hand if you know what a walled garden is. Just one, two, three. God nodding his head. Yeah. So AOL was a walled garden. They owned the ISP, and they told you where to go to buy flowers or to buy tickets or what to use for an email. And we rejected AOL, right? We said, no, thank you. I'm going to use your CD as a coaster. The 90s were a wonderful time to be a teenager. You had your own coasters in the mail on a weekly basis. It was wonderful. right? So we rejected walled gardens, but we're in an era of more walled gardens. Hotel California, the song is about a walled garden, right? Older folks in the audience get the joke? Come on. Yeah, thank you, okay? You can check in, but you can never leave. How many people here have a Facebook account? Keep your hand up, okay? Raise your hand and or keep your hand up if you also have an Amazon Prime account, okay? Now keep your hand up and or raise your hand if you also have a Gmail, a Google Maps, or other Google account, including YouTube. All right, so pretty much everyone in the room, right? You can put your hands down. Have you ever tried to tell Facebook, I don't think I want you to have my information today? That doesn't go over very well. I'll tell you a quick story, and I know I'm going to run out of time here super fast, so I got to get through this. But I used to not go by Joe Youngblood on Facebook because I didn't want people I met, you fine folks, finding my personal profile. It's my personal life. My parents were there, my cousins, my nephews, my nieces. They're all on there, and they all talk to me, and they all post comments. I didn't want my business colleagues interacting with my family. I thought that was a little weird. So I changed my last name to something slightly similar that everybody would know, so that if you saw me at a conference, you wouldn't find it. You would find my business page, and we would talk about SEO and links and copy and content and technical SEO and social media, and it would be a great time. Facebook banned my account and knew that I was Joe Youngblood, and they demanded that I give them my ID proving otherwise, or I simply change my name back to Joe Youngblood and admit it. It's called the real name policy, and it's actually not just injured poor innocent victims like me, it has actually injured rape victims and people who are trying to escape a very negative life that they once lived. Facebook refuses to allow them to do so. You cannot tell Facebook, I want to be on your platform, but I would like to be anonymous, please. Right? Eric Schmidt from Google in 2008 said, if you knew the amount of information that Google had on you, you might find it creepy. If you've ever gone and looked at Google Maps and you've gone in and looked at your history of where you've been, it's pretty creepy. You can turn your GPS off and Google knows where you are. Right? That's crazy. Amazon is probably the least creepy out of all of them, but how many times have you bought something on Amazon and saw the suggested item and been like, oh man, I was actually thinking about buying that at Target, but I guess I'll buy it on Amazon, right? It's a little weird. And did you ever maybe tell Amazon, hey, that's not cool that you knew I wanted that? I don't want you to tell me that anymore. No, why? It's convenient. Same reason you go to 7-Eleven if you're in a hurry. That and the slushies are really good. So there's a big misconception we have to get through. First off, Google is not a search engine website. Google is a task completion engine based on a data mining engine, right? Google mines data from the web. They mine any data you voluntarily give to Google. They hold it in perpetuity, and they use all of that to try to match something that Google has up with you. And increasingly, they are doing so without sending you to a website. If you saw the presentation from Google I/O 2016, then you will know that to be an absolute truth. Google said, we want you to be able to say, buy me movie tickets for this weekend for the new Minions movie, and you would get tickets to the theater you most often visit instantaneously. Zero interaction, no ability for competition inside of an open system like the web. Amazon is not an e-commerce website. This one sort of hurts people's brains, which is why we did the container thing earlier. Because it's not. And I get in lots of arguments with people. But an e-commerce website would not own Amazon Fulfillment Services. An e-commerce website would not own a video streaming company. It would not own Twitch.tv. Right? It would not own Amazon Web Services, the cloud that Amazon has, that Target, by the way, a massive retailer, based everything on the Amazon cloud. That was the dumbest business decision ever, probably of the century, because they're not an e-commerce company. Amazon is a retail success engine. My belief is that the future version of Amazon is going to be something where you give Amazon a product as a product creator, Amazon sells a bunch of it and takes some of the money off the top and gives you the rest. And uses all of that data that they've ever built up on consumers and purchases, uses their physical location, owning Whole Foods, and their little Amazon Go stores that they're trying to get going. They're going to use all of that to allow somebody who makes a product to be successful at selling it. It will absolutely crush Walmart and Target and the few Kmarts that are hanging on by a thread to dear life. They will be destroyed because consumers will opt for this, right? If Amazon just simply, every time I go to it, tells me exactly what I want the moment that I wanted it, why would I drive to Target to mill around the aisles of stacked stuff with my girlfriend, very confused and wide-eyed, and going, well, I thought we were just getting the cleaning stuff, and then we're looking at the furniture too, okay. Oh, we're looking at greeting cards. I haven't mailed a greeting card in a decade. We're looking at them, right? Why would I do that? It's far better for me as a consumer to use this, right? Facebook is not a social media website. Not at all. Facebook, can anybody guess? You see the pattern? Have you figured this out yet? Yeah? You're taking some pictures. I'll wait. I don't know that I have the time to wait, but I'll wait. It's already been 15 minutes. I only got 10 more. Okay. Facebook is a social data mining engine, right? So they take all your communication, and you can prove this out. Look at everything Facebook has ever bought. They have never gone out and bought an e-commerce company, right? They weren't like, wow, Jet.com, you guys look like you're doing some great stuff. Facebook would love to buy you. No, because Facebook doesn't want to sell products. They want to do what? They want to mine the way that you communicate. They want to process that through an algorithm, and then they want to understand what you're about to buy. And they want to tell a prospective seller, hey, I totally got a customer lined up for you. And they want to do that automatically, seamlessly, with zero friction. Okay? So we're all good with all this, right? We're all on the same page. We agree this is happening, this is real, this is reality. These are the walled gardens. There are more, but these are the big three to think about. Once you enter the walled garden, you do not get to leave. You do not get that option. And if you are making a living selling something through your own website or selling something through somebody else's website or helping them sell it, this should scare the pants off of you. Because once these guys dominate, by the way, they already make up like 85% of all the revenue on the internet, but once they get even more dominant than they already are, your ability to drive traffic disappears without paying one of these gatekeepers, these oligarchs. So I have a theory I'd like to talk to you about today called Accumulation Theory, and it's that same thing of the way the universe works, right? Tiny little things come together. Got any video gamers in the room? Okay, Katamari Damacy, right? No? Yeah, okay, you got it. So I didn't use the GIF because nobody would get it, right? Think of it like this snowball, slow rolling, and then you can't stop it once it gets going, right? All Amazon had to do to become the Amazon of today was do a really good job at e-commerce and constantly invest in other stuff. You may have heard the idiom that, or maybe not idiom, but the fact that Amazon never made a profit. They just constantly took the profits and reinvested it over and over. And that sounds really stupid to somebody with an MBA because that's not why you're in business. You totally got to make a profit. But Jeff Bezos has a human mechanical suit and a company that launches rockets into space. So I don't think he's doing too terrible. He probably doesn't care about your MBA. And he doesn't really care about that, right? We call it at Winner Winner Chicken Dinner building a Batman. Burning off those bagels. Where you at, Brian? Burning off all your bagels. How would you build a Batman if you wanted to build a Batman? Anybody? Amanda Waller asked the same question in episode 13 of Justice League Unlimited, the animated series. By the way, if you haven't seen that on Netflix, you should watch it. It's really good. Okay? These are clearly not animated Batmans. These are the movie Batmans, right? Batman has a lot of stuff. A lot of people say Batman is a normal human being, but I like to disagree. He's actually superhuman in different ways. Because Batman, depending on which story arc you read, has a ton of skills that you wouldn't just accidentally get as a human being. And even if you purposely tried to get them, you would be dead by the time you got all of them. I spent some time, and I think I'm running out of time here. Yeah, okay. So I spent some time interviewing Kung Fu black belts, and it's very interesting when you interview Kung Fu black belts. Some of the Kung Fu styles are so strict that you don't get your black belt for 10 to 15 years, and you only get one black belt. So if Batman was to master a martial art, he would have had to have spent a decade just getting to the level before black belt, which is called a brown black belt. And then he would have to have spent 10 to 15 years to get a black belt just to become an expert at that one style of fighting. But he does multiple styles of fighting as an expert, right? He's a skilled detective. He runs a billion-dollar corporation. Now, he got that as an inheritance, and you could question his business acumen, but he still has it, right? You don't have it. He has it, right? He's got a computer engineering expertise, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, bomb diffusion, and building expertise. Oh, the list keeps going. So it keeps going, right? Molecular biology. The Joker released the gas on Gotham. Don't worry, Batman's going to come up with an antidote in a couple of hours. He just needs a sample. He doesn't take it to his R&D department and say, hey, guys, I'm actually Batman on the side, and I need you to solve this for me. No, he does it himself, right? He's got a biomedical engineering, energy expertise, which, in Houston, you might actually get accidentally just walking around, right? You got civil engineering, physics, chemistry, aerospace, information technology. Hold on, the list keeps going. Aircraft pilot skills, right? He's a master of piloting aircraft, right? Batman has a mansion. He's got a butler with complementary skills, and he's got a cave full of bats. That's a lot of stuff. He's got one more thing, right? Does anybody know what else he has? He's got dead parents. And that's how you build a Batman. Amanda Waller, episode 3, it's called Epilogue, Justice League Unlimited, failed at building a Batman. Do you know why? The assassin she hired to kill Batman's clone son didn't do it. Instead, she felt morally uncomfortable creating a Batman through murder. And so Batman's, heir, so to speak, had all this pent-up rage and aggression when his parents actually ended up dying on accident. And he realized he was Batman's clone, and he's like, you totally did this to me, Bruce Wayne, you bastard. And he's like 90 years old and like all crippled, and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's really bad, right? So that's how you build a Batman. Amazon is a Batman. Amazon is becoming a Batman, right? Google is becoming a Batman. They're becoming what they think is the most perfect form of themselves, right? Facebook is becoming a Batman. They're adding all of these skills. They're accumulating stuff over time because they were an expert at one thing. They did one thing really well. They dominated it. They made a lot of money from it. And now they're using that to grow and become something totally and completely different. Think about it. If Batman just had martial arts skills, what would he be? Right? Maybe the Green Arrow. It's kind of boring. We could cross universes and go to Daredevil, make him blind and a martial arts expert, right? That's only 2 things. What's that? Kung Fu Panda, if he was fat. Yeah, I guess we can go with that one. If Batman if he enjoyed a lot of food and he was a Kung Fu expert, he would be Kung Fu Panda, right? But he has all of that other stuff. How you get that stuff if you're a business? You can't. Right? You have to be a billionaire running a corporation to have the time to be able to dedicate to this. Right? So has anybody watched The Founder on Netflix? It's recommended watching, right? How do you build a McDonald's? Well, the McDonald's brothers had it down. They had the perfect burger stand figured out, right? You have tasty hamburgers, simple streamlined menu, processed to make the burgers quickly. They even gave it a name, a little quirky name. It's almost like Web 2.0 existed back in the 50s, speedy system. Right? You got a burger stand design that stood out, and you made a contract with a guy to sell stuff for you. This is a recipe for success. Except for Ray Kroc also had some stuff, right? What did Ray Kroc have? He had a will to grow the business larger, right? He had the ability to listen to the franchisees. He had the will to enable the franchise to be successful. And then his coup de grace, he bought the land that the McDonald's burger stands were built on, and he leased it to the people. And he used that to leverage takeover of the entire McDonald's corporation. So had they worked together, they would have built a Batman. Instead, Ray Kroc built a Batman without the McDonald's brothers. He took the most important piece away from them, and it wasn't the design, it wasn't the pretty thing they had created, it wasn't the awesome, successful system they had created, it wasn't the process, and a lot of people think that's really important. He found the most important component in his struggles, and that was the real estate. And he used that to hold power over the McDonald's corporation and take it over. And then he went senile and told everyone he started the whole thing anyway. Okay, so how do you get to build a Batman? I don't think anybody in this room would ever be able to get to that point of building a Batman. You would have to start off by doing what we call a space dive. It's a much smaller version of trying to build a Batman. And before I get to that, I'm going to tell you the reason that you're doing all of this, I cut some of these slides out to try to save time, is because those walled gardens, they don't talk to each other, right? Facebook doesn't say, hey, Google, here's some data. We'd love for you to publish this in Google. Google says, F off, Facebook, we don't like you. They don't work together very well. So you're going to have to find ways as more and more walled gardens come up, and as more and more people spend time in those walled gardens, you're going to have to find ways to communicate with them. You heard earlier about influencer marketing. That's relatively new, right? If in 2002 MySpace started and somebody came to me and said, hey, Joe, did you know in just 15 years people are going to take selfies and make a living from it? I would have told them they were insane, right? Who the hell would hire me to take a selfie in front of a restaurant? Nobody. Well, anybody? Do you want to pay me? Anybody out there? Oh, I thought you were raising your hand. You were just playing with your hair. Okay. Right, but it sounds like a ludicrous idea. One of the most, two of the most famous influencers in Boston are the daughters of Bill Belichick's girlfriend. That's right, Coach Bill Belichick of the Super Bowl champion, 5-time Super Bowl champion New England Patriots. He lets them come down onto the sideline and take selfies with the players and stuff and put them on their Instagram accounts. And then people obviously think that's really cool, so they get a lot of followers. And then other businesses come to them and say, hey, we'd love for you to talk about us. And they say, we'll totally go take a selfie in front of your restaurant and tell people how delicious it is for money. Right? And the cycle continues. If you had said that in 2002, you would have looked like an insane person. Anybody remember MySpace? My MySpace photo is still up there. It's terrible. You had to hold a camera, and you're like this, and you're like, it's bad. Okay. We actually had cameras back. For the young people, we didn't have camera phones. We had cameras. Okay. So a space dive is a little different. Does anybody know about the space dive? Red Bull Stratus, 2013, right? So that's where we got the name. I'm being told to cut it off. Oh, crap. Am I really over time already? There was supposed to be somebody telling me when I was out of time. Oh, it's you. Am I out of time? Oh, crap. Okay. Okay, so this is a space dive. I'm just going to buzz through these. This is a space dive. Felix Baumgartner, jump to Earth. This is what a space dive is. I'm totally going to, if you give me your business card, I'll email you a link to this deck. Or I think they will. Will you email it? Yes, they will email it. Okay. So here's what that is. I just want to tell you why, and then I'll get out of here. So this is Red Bull Stratus. It has 7,000 linking domains to it. They spent $30 million. That equates to $3,945 per linking website. So not only does it power something beyond it, but they don't even care about that website. Right? SEO's in the room. Red Bull does not care about redbullstratus.com. They haven't touched it since 2000. It just sits there. They don't link to it. They don't use that power for anything. What's that? Yeah, it's exhausting, right? Okay, so we're going to skip all that, and we're going to show you that Coca-Cola has their main website, 25,000 linking domains. If they had spent 1 year marketing budget, $3.449 billion, it would have cost them $139,463 to get the same results. So Red Bull gets linking websites for $3,000. If Coca-Cola spends an entire year's marketing budget just to get other websites to link to them, they would spend that much per website. That's ridiculous, right? So a space dive is incredibly effective. You also have Amazon Air. I'm almost there. We're going to skip through all of this stuff because they're mad at me. Okay, so here's how to do it. This is the process. I love you, Katie Katz. You're my buddy, right? So this is how to do it. There's 3 ways you can be an innovator. We call it a creativity laboratory. Does anybody remember the futuristic cars they used to make? And they were just like, it's just a demo car or whatever. What's that, a tech demo? Prototype, yeah, like we're never going to build this, but they were really cool and they got a bunch of news coverage. You essentially do that today, everybody talks about you. There was something stupid, it was if we put an asteroid in orbit and we could attach an apartment building to it, it would totally float around the entire world. And millennials were like, oh my God, I could travel just in my apartment. Okay, it's completely ridiculous. It is like the most impractical thing ever to hang an asteroid in the atmosphere with a apartment building. But it went crazy, and that architecture firm, they got thousands of conversations online. It penetrated Google, it penetrated Facebook, and all that stuff, right? Okay, and that's me. I'm done because she's mad at me. Thank you. My parting gift to you is go out there, look at your business, look at your industry, and decide what it's going to become. What is its Batman, right? If a detective turns into Batman, when you add all of those other skills, what can you add to your business or your client's business to become a Batman? Go out there and be Batmans yourself. Thank you.